Hello and welcome to Survive the Unexpected with your host Frank Pacino. And again, I am loaded with a bunch of awesome people here again tonight. I have Michael Schaefer, James Hanson, I'm Aaron Bryant, and Hart the Tabulator. We are back with another top 20 list, and this is top 20 fallen angels. So we'll let Hart explain everything and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Well, I think Bamber's just dropped off. She will join back shortly. But let me explain real quick what a fallen angel is for some of the people who don't know. So, what a fallen angel is this is the very last person to get eliminated from Survivor right before FTC. So that is. Oh, I can hear my voice here. I don't know what's going on there,
Uh,
but
Sorry about that. I couldn't hear you guys.
yes, that is what a fallen angel is, and I think that might be James Hanson.
It's possible. All right, let's try to
Mute yourself, James. But yes, that is what a fallen angel is. So what we're doing tonight is we are ranking the top 20 fallen angels. So all four of these people have sent in lists of who they believe the top fallen angels are, and we are going to go over that tonight. So we'll start off with going over with our honorable mentions. So these are people that are listed on people's lists, but didn't quite make the top 20. We'll ask each of them to kind of go over why they think they should have been in the top 20. And then we'll go over into our top 20. We're going to say where everyone had each other ranked. We're going to have some fun. We're going to argue about where we have each other placed. You know how everything happens here. All the good stuff. So, Michael, let me ask you, why do you think Fallen Angels is such a good topic? So Frank was doing something. That's why I asked the question.
So, Fallen Angels, at least for me, like it's such a wide variety of what you can get. Because in some seasons, the Fallen Angels are probably the best players on the season. And in some players, the Fallen Angels could be the worst people on the season. So I think for this list, it should be really interesting to see, and I feel like there's a lot of people who say, oh, they're the best player to never win. They're the best player who didn't win. This is the best game that has not gotten to the end of the game. And so I feel like this list will kind of settle where everybody actually lands.
All right.
You want to get to the honorable mentions before we start?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go to the honorable mentions. So what I'll do here is I'm just going to say what place they got in on the list and where each person had this ranked, and if that person wants to comment a little bit on why they think they should be in the top 20, go for it. So we have, out of 46 Fallen Angels, 28 have made people's list.
Okay.
That was going to be my first question. So, okay. 28 out of 46, correct?
28 out of 46.
So we had no duplicate Fallen Angels. Nobody got fourth. Nobody has placed fourth or third and was the Fallen Angel twice. That has never happened, correct? Okay.
That is correct.
We're going to repeat Fallen Angel.
All right. But at number 28, Michael had this person at number 20. It is Maddie Whitmore from Gabon. Michael, why is Maddie to be in the top 20?
So I thought Maddie was a good player. He was the best player probably on Gabon. I think he easily wins against the three people he's sitting with the final four. Some dumb kid couldn't make a damn fire to save his life, and obviously to win $1 million, he couldn't make a fire. But I feel like Maddie kind of goes unrecognized, so I just want to throw him the number 20 spot on my list.
All right. Coming in at number 27, Mammers, you had this person at 18 from Survivor Game Changers, Tai Trang. Mammers, why should Tai Trang be on the top 20 list?
I mean, Tai is iconic in his own way. The first time he played, obviously, was a little bit better than the second time he played, but I didn't feel right about not putting him on there in general. Game Changers itself is sorry, I have company over that's talking to my dog, as you can listen in here. Yeah, obviously, Sarah was the rightful winner. I don't think that he deserved to win over her at all in Game Changers, but he's a good fallen angel.
Okay. All right. Well, going to our number 26, another person had this person at 18, which was Michael Schaefer. Let's stick to the plans. We got Keith Nail coming in at 26. Michael, why does Keith deserve a spot?
I'm actually a little surprised Amanda didn't have Keith on her list somewhere, but he's Keith Nail. There's really not much more to say about that. He's one of the great characters in Survivor. Is he all there strategically? No, but he does play a really good social game. I feel like if they had taken out Natalie in this spot, he might have probably won the game. And I feel like he's someone who could win the game on likability alone. And with everything he had in that season, I didn't feel right not putting him on my list.
All right. Well, coming in at number 25, our first person had be on two people's list. Mammers and Frank both had this person at 19. We got from the Survivor South Pacific, we have Ozzy Lust. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Why should Ozzy be on the list?
Vreeland asked me why I didn't have Ozzy higher, and I'm like, come on, like he's
voted out 3 times, but
yeah, like he's good, but
that's why he shouldn't be on the list.
I thought it was good for us to have him at 19 out of 46, honestly.
Listen, the reason why I put him there is because if he makes it to the end, he's 1,000% winning the game, and that's the reason why I had him at least on my list.
Can't hear you, James. But until while he gets that sorted out, I'll throw my comment in. And this is just my comment on my list as a whole. If you were voted out of the game, if you're a Fallen Angel, you did not make my list. So Ozzy's not there, Tina's not there, and Devins is not there. Like, that was the first. You got voted out of the game. You don't fucking deserve to be there.
All right. Well, Michael, you just mentioned this next person. James has this person at 20. Frank had him at 18. It's Tina Weston from Survivor Blood vs. Water.
Listen, again, if she made it to the end, even if Tyson's there, she's winning that game. And that's the reason why I had her on my list. Not because she played amazing, but like winning factored into my list. If you had a really strong possibility to win, you had a good chance of making my list. And I took that to heavy consideration. Even if I thought they deserved it or not, Ozzy and Tina, if they made it to the end, no matter who they sat with, they probably win the game. Correct? Probably not. But that's the results that would have happened.
All right. I don't know if you could you guys hear me now?
We're all good, James.
Okay, great. All right, we're back. So, we said Tina, correct? I think I had her at, was it 20?
Yep.
She was my 20th. Okay, I had to include her, even though she was voted out. I agree with Frank. I think she was absolutely winning the game. I think Ozzy probably was too, but it was preference for me. Ozzy was like maybe 20. 21 or 22 on my list, maybe 23, pretty close to being on it. And I think Tina just played a little bit better of a game. I think she was more there strategically even than she was the first time, the time that she won. So I think even if she was voted out, she played a good game.
They're like 18 and 19th on my list. Okay, they're not high. Yeah.
All right. Well, these next 3 honorable mentions were the closest to getting on. Only by a few points did they miss the actual top 20. But coming in at number 23, Michael had it 16 and James had it 19. They're going to be upset that it didn't make the top 20, just about as upset as about having to do dishes on their damn birthday. It's Rodney from Worlds Apart.
All right. So I'll just start. Like, a lot of people probably would have Rodney, like, nowhere near this list. Am I correct? Like,
I considered
so I
him.
thought about it.
Yeah.
I thought about it.
Yeah. I wasn't saying you guys. I'm like, some people like think he was awful and like didn't do good at all. Like, if you actually rewatch that season, like Rodney was like running the fucking game. Yep. Like, honestly, he ran that game as much as like he's not everybody's cup of tea. He pretty much ran that season, and like Mike would have beaten him still, and probably Carolyn too. I think. Like, I don't think he beats either of them. But I think that Rodney, arguably, I'm not saying he did, but I will say, defend this to my grave, I think Rodney, arguably in a season with not that many good players, might have played the best game that season.
Yeah, but I don't think the bar is very high, but I totally
It's not at all, but yeah.
I think
It's a shame that season wasn't
he
better
kind of
than
ran
what it
that
was.
game from merge on, and he was never really in a spot where he was in danger of going home until obviously he went at 4. But I would like to think he had a chance to win because I feel like he would have deserved it if he sat at the end. But I don't know, but I do feel like he had to be on this list.
The reason why he was on my list is because I had a tough time seeing him winning unless he was sitting with like Will and Dan.
That was his ideal final 3.
That was his ideal final 3, but I think he needed that final 3 to win, and that's the reason why he was on my list.
Yeah, I feel like he would have beaten Sierra.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
she's in there.
He wouldn't have
Yeah.
beaten Mike or Mama
Like,
C.
I think him and Carolyn would be a toss-up.
Yeah, and that's the reason why I didn't. That's what edged him off my list is that his scenarios of winning were 4 or 5, like 2 or 3 or 4 rounds back, and I think.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I think the only time Rodney, I think he got blindsided when Joaquin got voted out in the pre-merge. But aside from that, the only time Rodney wasn't like a very big part of the vote or like on the right of the vote running it was if there was an advantage played.
Yeah,
like,
the idol,
that's
the first
only
merge
time
vote.
it stopped him from
And
really,
when Mike and Carolyn both idled.
Yeah. So like there was advantages that got his plans from not going their way, but like generally like he had his alliance like who were not worse players than him like steering the ship the whole time essentially. So that's why I had to include him.
All right. Well, let's go to our number 22 on the list. Frank had this person at 20, and Manners had this person at 13. So, unfortunately, they didn't make the top 20, just like they can't speak llama. It's Cass, Chaos Cass from Kagayan.
How are you gonna put Cass not even on your list?
Because she
would have lost to Wu.
She wasn't winning the game.
Because as good of a character as she played a fucking terrible game.
I don't think she played a terrible game. I
No,
think
she didn't.
people were just bitter at her.
Yeah.
She would have had my vote.
You just said
against
the
Wu.
reason you left Rodney off the list because you thought he had a
You're
hard
right.
chance
You're
of winning.
right. But like,
Cass had a 0% chance of winning the game.
but like, so this is my thinking. Wu was a terrible player. She should 100,000% beat Wu, and that's why I put her on 20.
But she wasn't going to.
She wouldn't have.
But
She
she
would have
would've
lost.
had-
I know she would
She
have.
played
Should
better
have,
than
but-
he did.
She played better than Wu, but like we always love to say this,
But
the
people
bar
liked Wu more.
is hell.
Bars in hell.
And yeah, and like like as great of a character as Cass was, at best she was like there was at least 5 players in that season that played better games than her.
Well,
like
that's
she
one
was
all-time cast. So
she was a goat against most of those people in my eyes.
She's like my
And that's
favorite
what sets
Survivor
her off.
player ever. So like, I really can't. I'm so biased.
Yeah, and that's like I understand like
That's
putting
fine.
having to have her on because of that. I get that.
All right.
She was easy to leave off for me.
And our very last person to not make the list. So this person was actually tied with 20 and with number 20 and 19 on the list. However, what I did was if somebody was put on more than one person's list or on however many's list, that's how I put somebody ahead of the other people. This person was only put on one person's list. So they did not make the top 20. Unfortunately, getting into the top 20 was not on the advantage menu that was given to him by Ron Clark. Mammers gave this person an 11. It was Rick Devens. Rick Devens just missing our list.
Why are you guys looking at me like that?
Hey, I consider Rick. So
Yeah, he was fairly close, but like there's really like there's a lot of good options. Like we'll get into it. Like there was a lot of good players on here. Like it was. You see, even in these honorable mentions, like most of them were like fairly
Like,
close.
do you guys just count Rick Devens out because he got voted out?
No,
Is that the
no,
only reason
I
why?
had Tina and Ozzy on my list. The reason why I put him off was because he made he had the game on the silver platter and he just had handed it away.
I just think while like I really liked Rick, and I didn't really even like I said I didn't strictly leave him off because he was voted out because I had Tina on my list.
Yeah.
But like I think his game was a little too much like Ben Driebergen's game to me, and like I really just don't love those games. Like it was very reliant on like I'm winning immunity or I'm playing an idol.
Games like that too, like someone who's literally saving their own ass because they have no other choice, and that to me, like that is outlasting. That's part of Survivor. That
it is, but when you have to do it every single round, that's the only chance you have of surviving. Like, no, but like I fault him for that. Like I look at these other people and I put them above that for not putting themselves.
I've definitely been in that position before in a game, and it like. Sometimes I feel like it's almost like a snowball effect. Like you you have to do it, because if you don't, you're going to go home and like no one wants to work with you. You know, no one believes what you're saying. You know, no one's going to break what they already have going. And so you just have to literally just save yourself. You have to outlast. And it's tough being in those positions because it's like, what else? You have no other choice of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to our top 20. What we all been waiting for. Coming in at number 20. Both James and Frank had this person ranked at 16. The only person who probably asked to be a fallen angel, we have Ian Rosenberger from Palau.
So just a forewarning, Ian was the one I took off my list for Maddie.
Okay, so
Yeah. Go ahead, Frank. You can start.
Listen, he arguably played better than the best game until the very end. He outplayed, Tom towards the middle part of that merge. He had somebody completely loyal to him. And if he could just won that challenge, he wins the game.
But
Easily.
He gave it up.
He gave it up.
Yeah.
Gave it up.
But he also sat there for 6-7 hours or whatever it was.
That makes it worse.
Yeah, I think it makes it a little I think if he didn't do that, like I said, we had him at 16.
Yeah.
He might be a little closer to the maybe 11, 12, 13 range for me.
I had
The
him
fact that he did that pushed him down a little bit, and it almost even thought about should I even include him on my list at all? But then I really thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? Palau was a pretty good season, and at worst, Ian's probably the second best player on that season, and more times than not, in a normal season, it's not like Tom is that safe every single round. So Tom probably doesn't get to the end in most of the seasons, and Ian sets himself up very nicely to win. I think in most situations, I think it's just very specific to that season, with Tom just being so dominant and not being very much vulnerable at all, even near the end of the game, always being immune and stuff. So I just think Ian set himself up too nicely and played too good of a game for me to leave him off. So even though that thing he did in the final third,
he's somebody I wish that would come back and play again. I'd be very
I can't believe
he doesn't want anything to do with it, right? Isn't that what I've last heard? He doesn't want anything to do with Survivor.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's his choice, not.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's been asked it a couple times.
Yeah, he doesn't. I don't not I could be wrong, but I don't think he's in the Survivor community and stuff.
No.
I feel like there's very few finalists or fallen angels that haven't been asked back at least once.
Yeah.
Or at least been reached out to as an option.
I know a few, but they're not going to be on this list.
We can go over that at the end, I guess, and see which ones probably haven't. Yeah. So. I don't know, Michael. Do you have a glaring reason for leaving him off, or?
No, I mean he almost made my list. I put Maddie on instead of him.
Right.
He played a great game, but choosing and giving up the final immunity and asking to be voted out, that kind of helped. That helped me bump him off my list.
Okay. Well, coming in at number 19, James had this person at 18, and Mammers had this person at 14. Going all the way back to All Stars, it's Jenna Lewis.
Hey, let's go.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she's clearly worthy of being on the list. I mean,
I thought so too.
She's someone who, like a lot of All-Star games, she didn't play great her first time, so she wasn't one of the bigger names going in. But aside from Rob, who obviously didn't do amazing the first time and really made a name for himself this season, I think Jenna was the other standout that wasn't that great the first time, but this season I think I think if Rob somehow they can get Rob out and he doesn't get to the end, and I think if Jenna and Rupert and Big Tom can form the final three, I think Jenna wins that game. So,
Yeah, I think so too.
yeah, that's why I included her.
I just think that she's got a really good. I mean, everyone loved her too. She's very likable. she almost has that like good girl effect on everybody. You know what I'm saying? Everyone doesn't want to keep her around necessarily because she's a strategic mastermind, but because she's a good friend and a good ally to you. And sometimes you need people like that. And I feel like she did good in that role. But, you know, the reason why she's a fallen angel probably doesn't make the end is because she doesn't have that to take control of the game.
She doesn't have the killer instinct.
Right.
And which kind of helped me not want to put her on the list.
And she could have taken control of the game. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's why I left her off too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she let herself be in that position.
The capability was there. She just couldn't grab
She
it.
seemed perfectly content to be third place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she
And I'm
played
sorry,
it,
I'm not rewarding you for that.
but like she played a good enough game, I think, to like justify making this list. And like I think it's hard to argue.
High.
It's hard to argue to me that like she didn't play the second best game on that season.
Yeah.
And like, granted, besides Rob and her, the people who made it far didn't play very great. But
Yeah, because Rob took the people out who were playing good.
yeah, but I think she played better than the other people they were aligned with.
Again,
All right. Well, let's go to our number 18. This is the first person who was ranked 3 times. Michael had this person at 15. Mammers had this person at 17. James had this person at 9. And Frank did not have this person at all. From Survivor Fiji, Yao Man Chan.
Come on.
You don't have
Frank.
Yao Man on your list, Frank?
Listen, I just really don't like Fiji.
I don't either. But it's the
No,
Yao and Earl.
Amanda does. But
It's the Yao Man and Earl show, and like, I think Earl was better at the game, but I think Yao Man's winning that season against anybody. Like, you talk about that.
like Yao Man was clearly the second best player on that whole season after Earl.
I have to look at my list now.
First person to successfully play this version of the Hidden Immunity Idol. I think that's noted.
Mm-hmm.
Made the car deal with Dreams.
Yeah. I mean, we're only going off this game, so he did come back and wasn't great the next time, but you can't hold that against him because I said if we are just going off
Like you said, we counted these as just the individual game where they were the
But
fault.
like, I'm a little surprised that you guys don't have him on the.
Well, I'm the only one that doesn't have.
Well,
So my
Frank's
Oh,
one
you
doesn't
did.
have him. I just have
so
him.
after looking at my list, I might have maybe could have replaced him with a person or two, but I don't think I'm that far off. Only for the fact that, like, again, I don't know if he was 100% winning if he was there with it, no matter what.
Right.
I don't know if I don't think he beats Earl, but he beats everybody else.
That's fair, but Earl was always going to be there.
Yeah.
Earl was going
Yeah,
nowhere.
I think he was gonna beat Earl. Like I think that as good as Earl was, I think Yao was too light to lose to anybody.
So,
That's how I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
I think he played a great game this season. Great game.
All right.
listen. Like I said, I think looking at my list, there's maybe a person or two I could have maybe moved out, but I don't think I'm that far.
Yeah,
off.
that's like the 2 people that I don't have on my list that are on here. Like, I'm gonna get crap for it, and I probably should have. Them.
Listen, I could. I'm looking. Like, it's just yeah, he might be 22nd or something like that for me. Like, it's not like he's like super far off. Like, but I just
That's fine. Like I don't think he's one of the like an outstanding player, but I feel like he absolutely is a top 20.
Right.
See, I don't think he's an outstanding player every time, but like more times than not when he plays the game. But I think in this cast, in this particular game in particular, like he played about as good as he could, and like that was a great game. So like like does that make any sense? Like I think
no.
like
I
think
get what you're saying.
he's a good player, but I think he played a great game this season. Like he played better than he normally would have.
Where'd you have this
played
James
Survivor.
at 9? You had this
What was that?
You had
I have him at 9. Yes,
Wow.
I think this was a great game.
I'm very interested to hear where you have some of these other people.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see where this goes now.
All right. Well, I told you guys that I had specific ones starred when I think there was going to be a fight. We're up to our first one that I think there will be a fight.
Oh,
How many of them are there, or you're not going to tell us?
Six
Oh.
that I think are going to be having an argument involved.
oh my god.
This one I'm excited for. Michael and James do not have this person ranked, but Mammers and Frank both have this person ranked at number 9.
I think
From
I know.
Africa, we have Lex Vandenberg. Oh, I didn't.
How do you
that.
guys not have Lex?
Why
I
do you
had
have
the
Lex
Lex
on
hater,
there?
and you guys left Lex off.
Well, that's why I don't have him because I'm a Lex hater. So it's my list, and I can have him. I can fucking leave him off if I want. So I left him
Why are
off
you a Lex hater?
because
I'm
I think he's a big old fucking baby, and I don't like him. And I think his game this season was good, but I don't think it was anything like spectacular.
I think he was
It was
100%
basic.
winning against everybody.
And he was robbed a little bit. Like I'm saying, I probably should have had him on my list, but I don't like Lex. So
I don't like Lex either, and it pained me. I moved him probably up and down probably 4 or 5 times more than anybody because I'm not a big fan of Lex. I think his Africa game is a little overrated, but going by my rules I set for myself, he was 100% winning against probably everybody there on the cast.
See, I'm a Lex fan, so
And he played a solid game. I can't
He
sit there and
did.
say he played a trash
He did.
game.
I can't deny
So
that.
and
so
especially during a time where the game wasn't even developed yet.
so based on the criteria I set for myself, I was like, I have to put him on here, even though I don't like him. But I put him on here. I'm just shocked that you two don't have him on here. I was like, well,
Was
he's
he a part of that first swap?
yes, he was part of the first.
Yes, he was part of the first swap.
Africa
Wild.
was.
So yeah, this
You guys,
was one
know
of
that
the
he's,
two.
you guys know that he still goes to Big Tom's every year and helps him on his farm. Ever since
No,
Survivor.
I like him slightly more now that you said that, though.
Yes.
Listen, as a person, I think he's fine, but as a Survivor player and a contestant on my screen, can't stand him. So
No, I think as a person now, he's probably fine. Like I'm sure he's probably a lot different than then. Like I think he's one of the most like the first time like when he played really good, just so full of himself, and then the next time when things didn't go his way, just so sour grapes about everything.
Maybe.
And that's really why he's not my cup of tea. And like I said, I probably should have included him, but it's my list.
Michael, why didn't you have him on your list?
I mean, it's going to be partially because I kind of forgot about him a little bit. But at the same time, like I don't think his game was that great. I think he was better than the people he was there. But again, when you're going up against a fewer competition, I'm not really going to think that highly of it.
Well, and like you just said, you might have forgot about him a little bit, but like if he played that good, you wouldn't have forgot about him.
Would he have made my list? He probably would have been in the bottom, like 16 to 20.
That's
So like
fair.
I don't feel that bad not having him on the list.
Yeah, that's where him and the other person.
Listen. To me, it's easily he played better than Yout Man,
I agree.
and I'll stand on that.
I
I stand out only for the fact that Lex put himself in the position to beat everybody there.
Yeah.
Yout Man did not.
Yeah, like Lex beats Ethan. I'm not denying.
Yeah.
that. Like he does.
And to me, that's more impressive than maybe having a chance to win.
Yeah.
I mean, in the Brandon move, like we talked about it in our last episode, the worst moves, like
Yeah.
Lex pulling that off really like set the game up for him and his
Correct.
alliance the whole way. Because like Brandon flipped for Lex. Like he didn't flip for anybody else. Like he did it for Lex, and just because Lex was convincing enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And that's one of the that's the first, or I guess you could say Tina did it in Outback, where she flipped somebody. But this is the first time at the merge someone got flipped like that, like the flip on their tribe. And although it's only the 3rd season, but it still happened for the first time. So
All right. Well, let's go to our number 16. Michael, you had this person ranked at 11. Mammers had this person at 12. and James had this person at 15. We have from Island of the Idols, Lauren Ashley Beck.
Franklin.
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of blacked that season out a little bit towards.
Yeah, and that's why you may have forgot. Yeah,
I'll be honest with you. I completely forgot about Lauren. So
she probably would have been on the list.
yeah,
you're
probably
saying.
would have been on the list, but I would have to really look at it. But she wasn't winning against Tommy, so she probably would
Oh,
have
I
been high on
disagree.
my
I think
list.
she played.
No, she was beating Tommy. I think Tommy may have understood the game better, but I think Lauren, I think they were both social first players, and I think Lauren made better. While Tommy did make good relationships and good connections, I think Lauren made even better relations. I think her social game shined even more than Tommy's.
I think Tommy outfoxed her every step of the way because when they were chopping people off, they were always chopping Lauren's people off and not Tommy's people.
And yeah, that's what I'm saying there. I think Tommy had the game figured out more. Don't get me wrong, but I just think Lauren was more liked and had more relationships. So I think that she would have had, I think she probably would have had the edge over him had they both been able to sit at the end. So yeah, that's why I had to include her.
Well, that's the second time that you guys all had somebody and I didn't have.
I mean, she seems like a classic.
This was me last
fire
time.
machine.
She just, to me, she just played a really good game. She had such a great social game. I feel like she kind of picked up the game as it went along. And I agree with James. I thought she was smoking Tommy at the end if they had both.
So, how you felt? How you said about Lex? Yeah, maybe. I don't feel bad that she's not on my list. I'm not that heartbroken. Was she? Did I overlook her? Yeah, but I don't feel bad that she's not on my list.
And I think
Of a
if
player
there's
who's good at all three things.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going from 30. If anyone from 50 is going to be pulled from 39, but I feel like if we are getting people from the post, game changers, pre-winners at war stretch, I think that Lauren should be very high on the people that they want to bring back. I would love to see Lauren play again, and I think she would do great.
I don't know if they're going to touch anybody from Island of the Idols.
Neither do I, but I'm saying I would love to see her play.
If they would, though, she'd be the one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I just want them to cast the wackiest cast they can, and I want them to cast Debbie, Angelina, Nora, Abby Maria.
Frank was not to get canceled. Noted.
I want the messiest season.
You need Philip there.
Philip.
Q. What about Q?
Q would be great, and Philip be like, "Can you imagine Q? You're a specialist. You're a specialist." And he's like, "I don't like the way he plays hide and seek too good." It would be so.
Imagine Q out there having to deal with Philip and his big panties.
It'd be so amazing. No, he'd try to get him to sell him the sweater pockets thing. It'd be pink. They were going to branding together.
I think out of 46, Q for sure is the number one to return.
Think about it. Their branding could be Q up.
All right, we're getting off track a little bit here.
God, I'm imagining this cast.
Wacky cast, yeah.
I'm sitting here trying to get this cast of Survivor 50 Frank had out in his head out of my mind right now. But
Hart can't get Philip Shepard in his pink panties out of his mind.
Survivor 50, welcome to the circus. That's what I feel like all those people together are. All right, but going back to the list, number 15, Michael had this person at 14, James at 11, and Frank at 12. We have from the Survivor Guatemala, we have Rafe Judkins.
I thought I might have been the only one to put. I thought you guys would.
I knew James was gonna have Rafe on his list.
Yeah, everyone knows how much I love Guatemala. I thought he might be forgotten, but I do know you guys have even if you're not as higher on the season, I think you know how good Rafe was in that game.
I don't remember this season at all, so
I just watched it a year ago or so.
He was the best. He played the best game.
He was the best player on the season.
Mm-hmm, by far.
if I have to play devil's advocate against my own person a little bit, I will say he kind of threw in the towel a little at the end. I mean, he gave him and Danny made a deal, and then Danny wins the final immunity challenge, and he basically told her like, "Oh, you can go back on the deal. It's okay." Like, even though Danny was probably going to do it anyways, like he didn't really try to talk her into anything. Like, he kind of just let it go there. I guess he knew he was screwed either way, but yeah, if Rafe wins the last thing, he's winning the game because he was able to align himself with Stephanie and like make all these moves that she was making, but like he wasn't pissing people off on the jury. Like, Stephanie was sending everyone to the jury with a really sour taste in her mouth, and Rafe was playing the same great strategic game but wasn't doing that.
Yeah. I think the way she sent people out, they remembered, and the way he sent people out, they remembered. So that made a big difference. Like where Stephanie is like, "I promise you, I'll never do this to you. Da da da. You're my person." Then she immediately throw him on stab him in the back and vote him out. And Rafe would be like, I just had to do what I had to do. So I'm kind of shocked. I thought I might have been like the only one. I just feel like he would have got overlooked, but I'm glad to see a couple people have on the list.
All right. Well, let's go to the first person to be on every single person's list.
Oh, this is the first one? Wow.
The first one on everyone's list.
Whose list was Rafe not on?
Amanda.
Rafe was not on
I
Amanda's
actually
list.
remember that.
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
All right. Well, this person, Michael, you had at 19. Mammers had at 10. James had at 14. And Frank had at 15. Let's go ahead and give some love to Terry Dietz
Terry
from
Dietz.
Panama.
We were all very close range on this.
Yeah.
You guys,
All on the list.
I think that Terry definitely deserves a top 10 placement for Fallen Angels.
See, I love Panama and I love Terry Dietz. He had to be on the list, but he couldn't be that high. He didn't play that great of a game. He got that far because he won a bunch of challenges and had the Super Idol with him.
His game is very much Mike Holloway, Ben Drieberg, and Rick Devens-esque, but he instead had a Super Idol that he's holding, which was used for leverage, and he won just about everything. But like, Terry was in a position where he absolutely couldn't do anything else, like, because he was in an old school era still and was not in the majority alliance, and there was no way like his alliance was ever going to work with Terry. Like, that was
Terry kept writing Aris's name down every tribal.
It was never going to happen. So like, Terry was going to have to like get his way to the end via immunity and with leverage with the Super Idol, but
he made it all the way to Final Four.
But he did, yeah. I like his game a little bit more than the other ones that I said.
Yeah.
Like, and also with that, I don't know. I think Terry's like, he's a little bit cocky, but he's not like that cocky. Like, I don't know. I like his energy and his attitude out there. I really do.
I do too.
And when he returned, I was so crushed that he had to leave.
Oh, me too. I was so upset when I watched that episode for the first time.
I didn't like Terry. Not a huge Terry Dietz fan. His first season, second season, I liked him a lot better. But I couldn't have a list and not have him be on here when clearly he dominates anybody who he sits with at the end, probably. And I don't think he played amazing, but there's no question that if he got to the end, he probably would have won. So, like, by my criteria, he got voted out. Did he have challenge wins? Yes. He had the Super Idol, yes, but like, he deserved the spot only for the fact that he was one round away from winning the game.
Right.
And that was the last season where they had the final two. The next Cook Islands was the first one they had the final three.
That's right, yeah.
And if they had it for Terry, he would have won that season.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tabulate my list though, but I will say I've literally put Terry Dietz on solely for the term "wambulance." That was my favorite quote ever. All right. Well, going to number 13. Michael, you had this person ranked at number 10. James had him at 13, and Frank had it at 13. From everyone's favorite season, Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers, we have Devin Pinto.
The real Robbed player of this season, not Chris. Devin
Devin was so good.
wins this season, and like what he does, I think it was at the Final Five vote where
Final
he would have
Five or
like,
six.
He threw the vote on
would've-
Mike.
would have went home, but he threw the vote on Mike. Like that is like the opposite of what we did last week. If we did a best moves draft, like that is one of like the best moves in Survivor to be considered, and like Devin to me, like he's the whole package. Like he's a good social player. He's a good strategic player. He's good at the challenges. Like he's good at being fake. Like he's good at lying. Like he to me he's the whole package, and he came up just short. And it's a shame that there were so many. It was probably the most twist and advantage heavy season maybe ever.
You mean rigged?
Yeah.
Very rare.
Production,
They
if
hung
production
idle
does not
from
rig the
midair.
game at Final Four to give Ben the win, Devin's the winner
Yeah.
of this season.
Like Amanda just said, there's an idol dangling in midair. I mean, if that's
It's
not
embarrassing.
I do think
I don't think,
there's a world that he does lose with Chrissy and Ryan, but I think there's a reward because I think Ben would have been a big Ryan supporter. That's what he said at when he was going in. So like Ben coming in being a big rah Ryan guy might have stray some votes here or there where things could have got wonky. But one of the most impressive moves by throwing the Dr. Mike vote, I really love that. And then Dr. Mike's like, "Did you vote for me?" He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, like he was a little bit of a villain, but like he was kind of like the chill villain, like I'm gonna make this move. I'm not gonna be an asshole, but like I'm gonna do it with my.
He reminded me of a smarter Jay Starrett.
They're very comparable players. Jay had a little more of the dumb surfer bro type thing going for him. Like
And Jay was very impatient and feel like Devin was more calculated in his game.
Yes. Like I said, I think that Devin, Chrissy, and Ryan all played good games.
Yeah.
But I probably would rank them Devin, Chrissy, then Ryan.
So to be fair, Jay was partnered with Will. Devin was partnered with Ryan. Totally upgraded for Devin, so that helps a lot.
Yeah.
Ryan is somebody who helped stray the strategic game with Devin, where it's Will. So Jay didn't really have a strong strategic mind to bounce ideas off of. So
No love for Devin, Amanda.
Again, another season I kind of forgot about. Listen, I will say, when I saw this season, this was the only season that I had not seen previously that I knew the winner before I watched it. I knew that Ben had won this season before I watched it. So watching this season, I saw it from the winner perspective of how Ben was winning the game and not really. Devin played great or whatever, but I think the way that I watched that season really altered how I felt about it. So I literally don't even remember what Devin looks like. I'm just telling you right now. There's some seasons that I watched and I just don't even remember, because I either watched it too fast or I didn't like it or I watched it from a certain perspective. And Panama, not Panama, Guatemala is one of those seasons I don't remember. And Heroes versus whatever, I hated. I did not like this season at all.
I don't like this season either.
I don't
My
like
memory
either.
retention on those two seasons are
Frank
garbage. So sorry
one of
that we
my
had to talk
hottest
about those
takes. I
back.
think this isn't a bad season.
Frank thinks it's a fun season.
It's
It
a
is a
bad
fun
season,
season. Am I annoyed by the rigness? Yes, but besides, if you take that Final Four fire out, you'd be like, you know what, that was a good season.
Yeah. Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how's the play?
Anyway, so I just need to rewatch the season.
No, you don't.
It's fun.
I think you would like
Do us all a
Devin.
favor, man. Do not rewatch this season.
It's a lot of
horrible.
fun.
Maybe I can rewatch it for Merge On.
No,
It's
the pre-merge
worse.
is fun too.
Oh, the pre-merge is better?
I think
Not
it's
not
fun.
not the pre-merge is better, but like the rigness starts at like Final 7.
Ugh. So Devin's game
That's
is
when Jeff said we're gonna make sure that Ben wins this game.
yeah. All
Did
right.
you know he served in our military?
So
He did.
number 12 part.
Okay. Well, for all of our audience watching this on the recording, let's get ready to rumble. We have 5 fights in a row.
Oh my god, I'm tired already.
All right. Well, James, buckle up. James did not have this person ranked at all.
Oh my!
It's the last person I did not have on the list. So.
Mammers didn't have this. Mammers had this person at 16, Frank at 14, and Michael at 6. From Co Wrong, Sydney.
James Hansen. How
All right, I already explained it.
Explain
I
it
said
to you.
Lex was the other person I left off, and I'm not a Lex fan, and I purposely left him off. And I'm like, it's my list, I'm gonna leave him off. Sydney, I actually forgot about, and like she probably makes like it from the 16 to 20 range if I didn't forget about her. But I didn't slide her back in because I really was thinking more, and I was like, I remember being this strong like challenge competitor and stuff, but like I don't remember that much of what she did. Sue me, I don't. I couldn't remember her strategic game. So somebody
Half the season.
explain something to me because I need to be.
Listen, she got her hands dirty with Scott and Jason, and she was able to wash her hands and find herself in a great position throughout the game.
Yes.
And I don't know if she like it's one. This is one of the seasons that like the last final 4 or 5, or besides what's his face who got medevac, Joe. The last 4 or 5 besides Joe had a chance to win the game. Where I feel like the season could have gone either way depending.
So like
on
we'll
the final
say
three.
let's go. We'll say Jason, Ty, and then Sydney.
I think
Michelle,
Sydney wins.
Aubrey.
I think
So out
Sydney
of
wins.
those 5,
Jason Ty.
So do you think that out? All right, we'll say out of those 5. So out of Sydney, Ty, Jason, and then the final 2, Michelle and Aubrey. Do you think Sydney played the best game out of those?
I do.
Out of that one.
I personally think Aubrey played the best game, but
Because I remember Sydney and Michelle being better than. I mean, I remember Michelle and Aubrey being better.
Michelle played all that great. So
She did.
For me, Sydney
didn't.
played the best game that season, and to me, it wasn't even really close.
I don't think Michelle played better than Ty.
Oh, come on now. Ty was the worst player on that season.
Michelle was confused for a couple of votes there. She got lucky because Joe got medevac. If Joe didn't get medevac,
Yeah, and,
she would've
okay,
gotten that
Aubrey got
position.
lucky because Neil got medevaced.
And then
Let's get back on topic here. Talk about Sydney.
okay, sorry. Anyways, I think Sydney played a really good game. I don't know if she dominates the win, but I do think that she had a chance to win at anybody at the final like 6 or 7 odd. She had a chance to win.
I feel like Sydney was just the person who had control of that women's alliance. Well, she kind of could have taken control, gone with the guys to do the bronze and the beauties thing. Then she got pissed off with Scott and Jason. That's so she went and made the women's alliance. Was kind of the leader of it. She was never really in danger of going home either until Final 4. And that was only because Ty was playing with his heart, not his head, because he's an idiot. And gives Aubrey the pity vote to send her and Sydney to fire. Or I don't know. I would like to think Sydney wins that game because she played a much better game than Michelle did.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I don't know if she would have beaten Michelle.
Mark the
Do
chicken.
you think they would have been better?
Michelle did, Michael.
Do you think Sydney
Everyone
would have?
knows how much of a Michelle hater Amanda is.
Yeah. Do we think that Sydney may have had a bitter jury against her? Because
She
I
might
could
have.
see it.
It all depends on Scott and Jason.
I
I
think
think if they were bitter towards Aubrey, they would have been bitter towards Sydney too. That's what I
Listen.
do remember. Yeah.
listen.
I think
Who
This is
the question
I
is
struggle, though.
who would they have been more bitter at if it was Sydney, Ty, and Aubrey? If Michelle didn't win Final 4, who would have been the more bitter at? Because they would have picked somebody. They would have been
They-
better at all
Probably
three.
tied because he wouldn't fight back.
Well, Ty would have had no chance of getting the votes anyways, and they would have been bitter at him. I think they would have been bitter at all three.
I think it
So it would have
depends
been
on
a
who.
toss up between Sydney and Aubrey. Like,
I
who
think it
they're
depends on
like.
who wins that final 3 reward challenge.
Yeah.
Which
Okay.
To
also,
remove a juror thing.
Who's taking who off the jury? Because
Which I cannot stand.
Jury, and I
Do
think
not
that
bring
killed
back.
Aubrey's chances.
did not bring back.
That was a bad twist. That was a really.
I'm not saying it wasn't a bad twist. I'm just saying like
Yeah. Please
it
don't.
could have it easily could have affected the outcome of the game.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, because like if you're Sydney, like you're obviously removing Scott or Jason.
No, you still remove Neil.
I guess yeah, if you're with Aubrey, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair. But Scott and Jason are gonna be bitter at anybody besides Michelle.
That's what I mean. Their votes were toss ups. Like, you still get rid of Neil.
I feel like they would have voted for Joe if Joe was there, if Michelle was there. That's how bitter I think they were.
Well, I don't know, Jason dedefinitely would not have voted for Joe.
No.
That would have been the Gabler winner of the season.
Literally.
Can't
I will
believe
say,
you- can't believe
I
you
will
think-
say those. I don't know if y'all ever watched the Ponderosa videos though, but when Sydney got voted out or lost fire, went to Ponderosa, Scott, Jason, and Julia would not talk to her. That's how bitter they were. So
That was a bitter season. Like the
Yeah. It's one of the more. It's probably the most bitter, newer era season, from 30 on.
yeah.
Easily because
Compared to last season.
I'm
I
trying.
wouldn't
to
count 46 as bitter. Well, besides Maria.
Yeah.
they were
I
all
think
kind of bitter a little bit.
I think Maria was the only one that was super bitter.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get through. We're about to get through our top 10, but we're on number 11 right now. Michael had this person at 17. Manners had this person at 15. James had this person at 17. And Frank skyrocketed this person at number 5.
Ooh.
From Survivor 44, it's Carson Garrett.
Wow.
Frank.
Listen. He was in charge of the alliance. He controlled the entire game from start to finish.
Okay, and if he sits with Jam Jam, I don't think he wins.
I do
No.
think he wins.
No.
I do.
Jam Jam beats him for sure.
No shot.
Yeah.
No
it's
shot.
I love Carson to death. I
do.
thought he was a great player. I do not think he automatically wins if he sits at the end.
I think
Especially
he
with Jam
wins.
Jam, I think he probably loses.
I think he wins.
I
against
like Jam
everybody.
Jam more. I don't know who wins, or even I think Carson was arguably the better player, but I think Carson made himself Carson should have been targeted even before he went out, and he was sort of. So it's that's why I think Jam Jam was better, because I think his game was more hidden in sight until it was time to reveal it at FTC.
I mean, he definitely
So
caught.
I think Carson's a little overrated. I do.
I think he gets the people he swapped with votes because he had a relationship with them. I think he had the better relationships throughout the game and the strategic relationships. I do think he wins. Jam Jam was facing Carolyn, and I don't even remember. That's how irrelevant the third player was, or the second place, whatever it was. That nobody was important besides those three in that season, and it was clearly Carson leading the charge with Jam Jam in second command, and then Carolyn was Carolyn.
Frank, I'm not disagreeing with you here. I'm just trying to tell you, I think that the perception of the jury, I think they would rather have voted for Jam Jam over Carson.
I just disagree. I think he gets the votes. I think people will respect his strategic mind with his relationships. I think Jam Jam had no competition in his final 3.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that's fair argument.
The Jam Jam faced no heat in FTC because he had nobody to talk about. The other two had nothing to talk about. So
yeah.
if Carson was there undermining Jam Jam, I think Carson wins because he could communicate his game better over Jam Jam. Just that's my personal opinion.
I have one like little reason why I might be a little lower on Carson, and I think a lot of it has to do with the person who is the fallen angel the season before, who we're going to get to, and I think they're compared to them a lot, and I think that the other one option is a lot better. So, yeah, I think that's why I think I am a little lower in Carson, but I mean, he still made the list. Like, there's great players left off of this list, even in my perspective. So, I mean,
There's a lot better.
he's
There's a
definitely
lot
gonna be-
like when I first thought about it, I was like, you know what? There's gonna be a lot of terrible players on this list. There really wasn't that many
No,
terrible
there
players.
wasn't too many.
There were some, don't get me wrong, but like
yeah.
There
was
were a good few bad ones.
yeah, but
Yeah.
there wasn't as many as I initially thought there was gonna be. Like just thinking about it offhand.
We all know one bad player is probably watching this and waiting for their name to come up, and it's not going to come up. Liz. But, sorry, I just got us canceled by the Survivor community on that
I
one.
mean, she can argue with me on Twitter if she
The
wants
Survivor
to.
community likes her.
I don't know.
Listen,
God.
No,
listen. I like anybody who's a billionaire. If you can become a millionaire, somehow, Liz, well, you and me could be best friends.
So she's not.
Well,
I
on
said
that note,
become.
let's get to our top 10. Frank, you had this person at 17. Michael, you had this person at 13. James had this person at number 8. And Mammers had this person at number 3. From Heroes versus Villains, Jerry Manthe.
Jerry Manthe was going to win that game.
You're right. She was. That's
You're
why she
right.
made the list.
Kristen was going to win
Plus
that
she's
game.
number 8.
That's why she made the list. She was going to win the game, but did she play better than Parvati or Russell? No.
Yes.
No.
They said that she did.
Just because she was going to win
No.
doesn't mean she played better than them.
She didn't play
Sandra
better.
didn't play better than Russell or Parvati, but she won.
Listen. I will say part of the reason why I have Jerry Manthe so high is because this completed her character arc.
And that's why I had her at 8
Yeah.
too, because I love that her arc, which it went from.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that she played great. Do I think that she was a little delusional sometimes? Yes. But I think if we're listing Fallen Angels, she's way up there for me. Way up
Well,
there.
like I said, she played good, but she didn't play better than Russell or Parvati. She
No.
would have beat both of them. Like
Yeah.
we all know this, but it wasn't because she played better. It's because
been a better
the jury hated those two, and that's the only reason why she would have won. Not saying that she played
Well, she
awful.
played well and kept good relationships.
Yeah, but
Yeah, and see, that's where I agree totally with that, because, like, so this is the thing, like, Parvati and Russell did play better, but, like, they were going to have a hard time getting votes no matter what with, like, how they voted people out, essentially. Like, their
To be
jury
fair,
management.
Russell was an asshole to the people. They just hated Parvati for no reason.
yes.
But her jury management still wasn't the greatest,
No.
I will say. Like, it wasn't always the greatest. Like, Jerry was able to be in the know, and while she didn't have the strategic control that Russell or Parvati had, she was still getting her way with the vote outs, unlike Sandra. And it didn't look like she was basically just being kept because she wasn't a threat like Sandra. Like, Jerry was in a great spot, and she was able to get the respect of the people that were voting
Well, let's look at the
out.
opposite.
And I love her arc, like Amanda said, from
Yeah,
the 3
fifth place
seasons.
See, like, I didn't take her arc into account because I was focused on this game alone.
So was I, but I did, like, if it didn't, like, skew me at least a little bit, I'd be lying. So, like, I will say, like, it was so cool just to see her play this great game, like her third.
Yeah.
I personally think
Not
she played.
playing good.
I personally think she played a better game than Sandra. I'm not
Did
saying
play
she
better game
played-
than Sandra.
Yeah, I'm not saying she played bad. I'm just saying that the reason why she was going to win wasn't because of her. It's because of the two people she was going to be sitting with, and
Yeah,
that's
I
the
agree.
reason why she was lower on my list.
Do
Not because she wasn't going to win.
Do you fault her for the other people fucking up their own game? Like, I don't do that.
That's
I'm not faulting. I'm not even faulting Jerry for that. I'm just saying the jury was going to vote bitterly, and I'm not that I'm going to fault her for it, but like I'm not going to give her this praise that she played this dominant game when she didn't.
right. She didn't. She played a good game.
You don't have to play a dominant game to be ranked high.
But on my list, you do.
To be 3, yeah, you do.
Honestly, no, though, Frank, because you said as long as you make your list as who is likely to win the game. And
she made my list at 17.
Right. No, I understand that. What you're saying, though, is what I'm saying is you don't have to have a dominating game to win. And just because someone doesn't have a dominating game doesn't mean they're not just as likely to win.
That's not we're not disagreeing
saying,
with your win. What I'm saying is the reason why she wasn't higher on the list was because she didn't play better than the people that are higher on my list. She was going to win the game because of the people she was going to sit next to. If she was sitting next to somebody who played better that they weren't bitter over, she would have lost. She didn't dominate the game. She didn't control the game. She fouled Russell and kind of Parvati towards that position. They were just hating on Parvati and Russell, and that's why she was going to win.
Right.
And I'm not saying she played bad either. That's just a reality, and that's why I had her lower on my list. She was going to win, though.
All right. Well, let's get to our number 9. Nammers, buckle up.
Oh my god.
Do not have this person.
Because Nammers did not have this person ranked.
Oh, I probably forgot about them or don't remember their season.
Oh, no, I can tell you right now, I know you. You did not forget about this person.
Oh.
Frank had this person at 10. Michael had this person at number 5. And James had this person at number 4.
I know who it is.
It is Kelly Wentworth at number 9.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my god.
I don't like her.
See, all right, I could see if
James
someone
has
had.
someone off his list because he doesn't like him, but I don't get to.
All right, that's fair. It's fair. All right, I could see like 15 to 20 because like she did have to do a lot of the things that I don't like people doing. Like she wasn't in the majority. Like she did have that amazing idol play, but like Kelly kicked ass this season.
Yeah.
Like and like, I mean, does she beat Jeremy if they're in the end? Like
She might be
She
Jeremy.
might. I
think
don't.
so.
It's not a guarantee. She might.
She might. I think Jeremy kind of pulled the heartstrings with the kid thing.
He might have to drop that to win
Yeah.
against her.
Which
I
he did.
think that jury wanted Kelly to win.
That jury did want Kelly to win.
Look, I love Kelly that season. Don't get me wrong, but I don't like her. Her next season ruined her for me.
That doesn't matter. We're not
Okay, we're
ranking
not-
that.
It
We're not
doesn't
counting that
matter. I
season
don't
here.
like her, so I didn't put.
Yeah,
her
yeah,
on
and
my
that's
list.
and like I said, Lex. Yeah, it's your list. It's very fair. You don't have her. That's fine. Yeah. Like, and it's. I mean, like I probably will say having her 4th, like by my criteria with stuff, it probably is a little bit higher than it should be. But I think like at this time, and I've heard this said before, but like we don't always get like a younger like strategic woman like that Parvati 2.0. Like she was really the first person to like get cast as a stereotype that like actually fit that mold, and it wasn't her first time playing. It was we saw it in the second time. So I think like when you saw Kelly cast for Second Chances, you're kind of like, okay, like why is she here?
Yeah.
And then like she kind of pulled the Boston Rob and just went out there and just was like, all right, I'm gonna show everybody why I'm here, and I'm gonna absolutely kick ass this season.
Listen.
And that's what she did.
She provides one of my all-time favorite moments in all of Survivor when she idols Savage's out. Oh, I fucking hate Savage. So
I don't like
him
him
get
either.
idol out was so good. And then Abby Marie, at least you made jury. Oh, it's one of my favorite
big
moments
birdie.
of all
Putting
Survivor.
Stupid beanie on the jury. I hate
He
him.
looks like such a douchebag.
He
But
is.
I
I don't like that.
I will always be grateful for that moment because like it's one of my all-time favorite moments. It's so good. So like that helps. And she beats Spencer. She beats she beat Tosh. She's gonna be close with Jeremy. I think Jeremy might have edged her out only for the fact that he's gonna drop the kid knowledge, and that's gonna give him an extra vote or two. And to be fair, if I was in this position, I would have done the exact same thing. So I'm not holding any.
You do whatever you have to do.
Yeah, I'm not holding any ill will. That is a trump card you use in that scenario. I don't blame him. Adam did the same thing with his mom. Rest in peace, Mama Adam. So, but it's just like like you have a card, you're gonna play it there. I'm
Yeah.
not holding a fault to him, but
I think that this most recent season, that's one of the reasons why Kinsey won, is because she was honest about what she was doing with her money. She said, "I'm going to use it for myself." Point
See, and I love
respected that.
I love that she said that. Like, it's never gonna factor into my vote. Like, I'm always in the firm belief, like, I am going to vote for the best player to win.
Yeah.
To play the game of Survivor. I'm not gonna factor in what they're gonna do with the money, how much money they have. I will not factor any of that stuff in.
And some people,
But,
it's
like,
important.
But like the fact that she did say that, I think helped. And like Jeremy dropping that could give him the edge over Kelly if they do both sit in the final 3.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting because they were very different.
They also might not have.
He might not.
They were
have,
different games.
Yeah.
Like they both saved themselves with idols, but like they were like Kelly had to play from the bottom a lot more than Jeremy. Like
Yes,
Jeremy had a lot more control.
But when you think about it that way, Kelly probably had better relationships with people on the jury than Jeremy did.
Yeah.
Like, Keith would have voted for her easily.
Keith,
Oh,
Cass, Sierra, Abby were all voting for Kelly.
All of them for Kelly, but that was a huge jury too. So
Yep.
It was
She would have just needed 2 more of those votes.
yeah, so it would have been close. But I am a little shocked that she's not on your list, Amanda. I'm sorry. I was shocked Lex wasn't on the other 2 guys' list, so I'm not picking on you. I just call it as I see it. I'm just shocked. I'm just a little shocked.
It's fine. I don't give a fuck.
Hey, it's your list. It's fair.
All right. Mammers, did you buckle up the last time?
Who else did you leave off your list?
Good. Good. We're taking the second spin. Let's go.
Oh my god.
All right. Mammers, you did have this person on your list.
Oh.
You had him at 20.
Oh, I don't remember her at all. That's why.
Oh no, this is not a her.
Oh.
James had this person at 10, and Frank and Michael both had this person at number 4. From Millennials versus Gen X, it's David Ray.
Amanda, what the hell?
I love.
I think 4 is really high though. Like 10, I thought I had him a little lower.
10 is way too low.
Listen. If Adam doesn't drop the mom thing, he beats everybody in the final,
right.
from final 8 on.
Because when we were just talking about the Kelly versus potential Jeremy debate, this crossed my mind. I'm like, when we get to David, we are going to have to bring this up.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I don't even think
David and Adam are in the final 3 and Adam drops that, does David still win the game?
Yes, I think David.
So if Adam doesn't drop that and they're there, David absolutely smashes Adam. But like, if Adam and him are in the end and Adam drops that, is David play a great enough game to still beat?
Yes.
I was really high on Adam during Millennials versus Gen X.
So was I.
Yeah.
I was really high on Adam a lot, and honestly, I liked Jay a lot too. And then there was I liked Z. I feel like there was so many other people I liked more than David, and I think that might be the reason why I just don't have him as high. Not saying that his game wasn't amazing, because it definitely was, but there was a lot of people I liked that season. You got to remember that Millennials versus Gen X was like my 3rd favorite season ever. So, and the reason why it's so high for me is because I love the cast. So I think that he played amazing. Yeah, everyone played amazing that game. Like, I don't know. I just feel like
he has one of the few
out for me as like a top 10.
Listen, he has like one of these few things that we never see in Survivor often, like the scrawny. This person's gonna be the first boot, and he was so close to going home so many times pre-merge, and he was able to survive and figure things out one step at a time and create the relationships.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of when someone else who we haven't mentioned yet on this list played for the first time. It's very similar to that.
Yeah.
And
it's very impressive, and the fact that he was a big person pushing for the rock draw.
Yep.
And the fact that he was able to pull that off at final 10, like that's a lot of people to get on your side to be like, yes, I'm locked in with David. And he was able to do that.
I still to this day do not know how that rock draw ended up happening.
And I'm so thankful that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Such good TV. I love Millennials versus Gen X.
Yeah. It's a great season. David was far and away the best player on that season, which is why I feel like he has to be so high on the list.
Yeah. So that's what.
See, I think my list, a lot of it is based on just likability of the player, and like I said, there's easily 3 or 4, 5 contestants I liked that season more than I did David. Not saying that his story wasn't great or that his game wasn't great, but I don't know. It didn't tickle my fancy as much, I guess.
I think David was probably my second favorite player on this season. I think Jay was probably the only one I liked
more. Millennium vs. Gen X was one of the first few seasons I watched like live from start to finish. Like it was like one of the first ones.
Yeah.
Like I started watching around the second Blood versus Water, but I think this season or around there was like the first time I really started watching every week. And like David, like just drew my attention. I just love David so much, and I'm so heartbroken that he wasn't able to get to the end and win. There was one like that's probably my first like that's the person I wanted to win, and I didn't get it, and it crushed me. Me.
Well, remember too at Final Four, David wasn't going to go up against Adam because he was trying to get Ken to have him go to fire against Adam, and he destroys the other two.
Yeah.
Oh,
if David gets the 5-2, then David wins the unanimous
vote,
right.
and he has maybe one of the all-time great games if he does that.
All right.
That absolutely factored to him being on my number 4 on my list.
Number 4, yeah. I don't regret that decision whatsoever.
Neither do I.
All right. Well, let's go to number 7. Michael had this person at 12. Mammerts had this person at 5. James at 12, and Frank at 6. Let's do some wrestling promos with Johnny Fairplay.
Honestly,
he was hard to rank. He was
hard to rank. I moved him a few times.
I moved him up twice.
I moved him around, and I was trying to
figure
him
in the top 10. I had him in the bottom 5 on this list, and then I moved him back up to 12.
I absolutely think he played the best game on this season.
Oh,
hands
down.
Wow.
Hands down.
Absolutely.
But does he beat Burton or does he beat Sandra? Does he win against either of them?
I think he can beat.
I don't know.
I don't think he beats Sandra.
I don't think he beats Sandra, and that's the reason.
He beats Sandra, but he definitely beats Burton.
That's the reason he's not in the top 10 of my list because I don't think he wins if he gets to the end of it.
And that's why I said I think I have him 12th also, and I said why he was really hard to rank and moved around, but why I think he does have to be ranked and why I do think this is a great game still is that he proved that you can be this big villain and big character, but also have the strategic wherewithal to be a threat to win and play this great game. And did we really see that before? I mean, I guess Brian Heidick a little bit. I mean, he won.
Yes,
but Heidick wasn't as much of an open.
I mean, somebody that's
with it.
Somebody that we haven't talked to on this list yet. Rob C is kind of a little bit of a villain in this season.
Different.
Rob wasn't as open and pompous.
That's fair. That's fair. But Rob had some villain tendencies.
Fairplay was probably the first real villain. And people saw it more because Rupert was one of our first big heroes after
heroes, and Fairplay was his total opposite.
Did you vote for me, John?
Did you vote
John, did you vote for me? I did. What the fuck?
And one of the things I really liked, and it's unfortunate the second time because it was complete opposite of that. I know he's about to have a kid and stuff and kind of asked to be voted out. But to me, what I love is you're suffering and stuff, starving and everything the whole time out there on Survivor. Fairplay, it seemed like he had a great fucking time out there.
He was drunk half of it.
Yeah.
He enjoyed the hell out of his time out in the woods.
Listen, I had him a little higher, but I don't begrudge any of your guys' ranking with him because of
he was hard to rank.
He was hard to rank. I think
he absolutely had to be on the list.
Yes, it's just finding the right spot. Yeah, I don't think anybody's. I think you can make an argument for any of our numbers, and I think we could all be like, you know what, maybe you're right. So I don't think this is outrageous for anybody to say we had him where we had him. I also preference I love Johnny Fairplay, so maybe that boosts him up a couple of spots for me. you know, it's my list after
And
all.
bias helps.
Absolute legend.
It
Like,
does.
Yeah,
there's
absolute
no-
legend.
He's an
Like,
absolute legend.
we
There's
need
no.
I
more-
think fair play in person. He's really chill.
He is. He's a little cocky, but he's chill.
Little cocky, but he's. I've enjoyed some green with Johnny Fairplay.
Man,
But he did.
Yeah.
But what happened to him in House of Villains Heart? He cried like a little bitch a lot, and it drove me wild.
I don't remember that show that much, to be honest with you.
Nah.
All right. Well, going into our number 6, and just to boost my own ego a little bit, I am the only person, I am the tabulators, untabulated tabulations. Somebody hashtag that was not a part of the actual list making, but I'm the only person here who, in my list, had all top 6 as the top 6.
Oh
Just
wow.
just to boost my own ego.
In
But
that order or no?
no. But anywho, I had all the top 6 there though. The rest of y'all do not. But at number 6, Michael had this person at 9. Mammers had this person at 6. James had this person at 7, and Frank had this person at 7. One of my personal heroes, Kathy Vavrick O'Brien.
Fucking queen. Can we just all take a moment of appreciation how badass this chick was so
I
early in
love
the game?
Kathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was the real winner of that season, MVP of that season. If she wins, I think the season's a little bit more remembered and goes up a bit more. Like, yeah, I mean, she's one of the early, I think, great players in Survivor, and I mean, this is a great game. Like, we see the fall of the Rotu 4
Mm-hmm.
as they like lose control of the game, and then this kind of like allows Kathy to like kind of take control of the game, where at the beginning she was constantly losing. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like,
Yes.
Yep.
Like, Kathy went to a lot of tribal councils, and like in old school Survivor, to go to that many tribals and then eventually find yourself in like the best position in the game, it's pretty impressive.
And I mean, she was just one. I mean, if there was a final 3, she would have won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just one of those situations that back in the day it was final 2. If there was a final 3, she would have won, and it would have been probably a landslide, to be honest.
Let's say Kathy wins. Where would you rank her among winners?
Ooh,
Top
That-
15.
that'd be
Yeah.
tough. I'd have to.
Tough.
I'd have to really think about it.
I had the worst top 20, but I think
Yeah,
maybe higher.
easily
Top half. Yeah.
top half. Like, there's nothing like she's not even questioned past like
Right.
25 like at all. So you had her at 10. You'd have her at 10. Okay, that's fair.
It's a little bit like it's
I'm
a
not
little
gonna
bit
say
like
much, but I love her. I love her dearly. So that's the
I
only
think
thing
it's a little bit like a Denise type of game.
Yeah.
That's like the vibes I would have got if she would have ended up winning. Because, like I said, it's really impressive, especially for how early the season this was, for how much she lost early on. I think she went to tribal the most out of anybody, and then she was able to make it further than all those people.
So after re-looking at my list, I could have put somebody up a little bit higher, but it's too late now.
Did we talk about them
What did
already?
she place
No.
again?
She played in All Stars.
Yeah, she played in All Stars.
I know. What did she
Wait,
play?
8, I think. She
And-
went after him.
She went
Yeah.
right after Lex.
Because of Lex, because that's Lex's fault.
Yeah, that's Lex's
We
fault.
kept Amber.
That's
That
right.
was Lex's call.
I mean, if Lex doesn't keep
was-
Amber, Kathy might win that
Right, Frank?
season.
Yeah,
Kathy might win All Stars if Lex doesn't keep Amber. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, she could.
yeah.
Kathy Vavrick O'Brien, you're the only person out to be starstruck in the Survivor community if I ever met you. I just want to point that out if you ever watch
The only person, the only
I don't
one.
get starstruck in a lot of Survivors.
Oh, Tony.
In the middle, I don't really got
Tony
starstruck.
would-
I would get starstruck over Kathy.
I would
I
probably.
might have like 10, maybe like 10 or so
James getting his
Right.
Tony.
that I'm bowing down.
Michael was speechless with Sandra.
Mm-hmm.
I think if I ever met
Listen,
Banu,
Listen,
Yeah.
if I've ever met Parvati, I'd be starstruck in
Oh, I
other
was
ways.
Parvati.
What about-
Kathy and Austin. Kathy and Austin for me.
Oh
I
god.
think Banu
Whatever
is
reason.
top the list for me.
But oh yeah,
Bonu.
I'd love to run.
And his
I'd love
jaw.
to run into Banu somewhere in Maryland one day and just My life
Why?
would
So
be
you can see a shirt that says I want a million hearts, not $1 million.
I think out of all of them, Parvati would be the one for me that I would actually be speechless. Like, I would be so scared to walk up and talk to her.
Not me. I'd be like, I'd just go shoot my shot.
Yeah, right, bro. Now she's dating that comedian. What's her name? Meg something.
I don't know.
I don't know.
She's dating someone, but we're
Yeah,
way
she's dating. Yeah,
Yes,
she's
let's
dating-
move on.
I'll talk.
Next
Let's
person.
move on.
Yeah,
Let's
okay,
move on.
number 5. Going to our number 5 on the list. Michael had him at 8. Mammers had him at 4. James had him at 6. And Frank had this person at 11. We have, from Winners at War, Sarah Lucina.
11,
Oh.
Frank?
Listen. The reason why I put her so low is that her ideal scenario to getting to the finals, she would have lost in 100%. So that took it down. Ultimately, she would have beat Tony, but if she had her choice of a final 3, Tony was there, and she would have lost in a landslide.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
so that
'cause ul-
factored her down a little bit for me.
Like you're saying, ultimately neither of them would have been there together because of the fire making
Fire.
challenge. But ideally, she wanted to sit there with Tony.
Correct.
Yeah, and like it's almost like the final 5. Like some people give Sarah a lot of credit that like her and Tony didn't vote together at the final 5, and like Ben goes home. But like
Terrible move.
Ben basically asked her to vote him out, and it
Yeah.
still wasn't. It was an absolutely terrible move because
Terrible
You
move.
should have
Ben
been
was an
right
easy-
there.
Ben was an easy beat for Sarah right there at
Yeah.
the end,
Sure.
And the
and
person,
like Ben was also way better chance to win the fire making
Yeah.
challenge. You don't
Yeah.
vote him out there.
you keep Ben to send Ben into fire against Tony. You don't get rid of him.
All right, so we have her 5th, and I'm saying all these bad things.
But
Like
that's
maybe
why
I
she.
should.
That's why she went lower to me was because
But
of
And like
Final Five.
now I'm
reason
thinking
she's so
I'm.
high is because
So
she
good,
still played
though.
such a great game.
She
And
did.
the way things played out, had she beaten Tony that fire making, she absolutely would have won this game.
I agree, but it's just that her end game had me questioning.
You put her
Yeah.
against everyone except for Tony, and she beats them.
Yep.
Yes,
Period.
but she didn't
But- and
want to
I
go.
see what Frank's saying, that she did want to sit with Tony.
Right. I
If she would have won final immunity at Final 4, it would have been her and Tony, and she might have been a 0-vote finalist like Michelle was.
She would have had to let Tony go to that jury gently, though, or else he would have been pissed at her.
I think if Michelle and Natalie go to fire, Natalie wins, and then I think it would have been like how Michelle was. I think Sarah would have got 0 votes if that scenario happened.
And I
Maybe
think that
Ben's vote would have gave to
Would-
her.
But also, like, while I said Sarah still, like, she played the second best game that season, clearly.
It's so good.
But, like, she had those great relationships with Kim, with the girls, with Kim and Sophie.
Yeah.
But, like, what separates Tony from her really is that Tony was able to blindside Sarah on that Sophie vote and still get her to come right back in his pocket afterwards,
Mhm.
right after that. So that's what really separates him from her. But like all that being said, I think that it's like I don't think most of the people that made the merge and Winners at War played that good. So I think like Sarah's game was clearly number 2, and it does get a little bit extra merit just for being a winter season. So like I couldn't rank her any.
That's
much
fair.
lower.
And I think I had her. She probably somebody who dropped the most in my list after I started making it. I had her like 4 initially,
Okay.
and then I started comparing her end game towards some of these other people, and like her ideal winning scenario was a not winning scenario, and then she had a clear path to get there by keeping Ben and sending Ben to fire against Tony, because if Natalie wins the Final 4 immunity challenge, she's not sending Sarah in the fire. She's sending Ben and Tony in the fire,
Right.
and then she wins the season.
Do you think Ben bows out at fire and let Tony win?
No, there's no shot. If Sarah tells him,
I
"I
don't
need you to do this for me," he would have did it. He was total simp for
Then
Sarah.
Sal's on it fire to let Sony win.
God.
But it just those little things like I think Sarah did play the second best game, but it's just he should have won the season if you really think about it. But she made terrible moves with the
She played
last few rounds. I
Games.
just think about it. The round that they wanted to vote, Tony wanted to split on the Natalie, and Sarah was the one's like, no, we cannot split on Natalie. She doesn't have anything, and she did
That
have
was so bad.
That was Sarah's bad move.
That was a bad read.
So it's like there's a couple bad moves there at the end where that's why she went
Right.
a little bit lower for me. Not saying she played bad, but I just when you compare some of these people who dominated the game the entire game, where she kind of lost the Sophie round, the Natalie having the Ida round, voting Ben out for reasons. So just those couple things knocked her down a little bit for me.
Right.
But I completely understand why you guys had her so high.
Yeah.
All right, going into number 4. Michael and Mammers had this person at 7, James at 5, and Frank at 3. From the Philippines, Malcolm Freeberg.
I'm surprised I had them the highest.
I wouldn't have put it.
Yeah, same.
He pretty much cost himself the game.
That's fair. That's
That's
fair.
Yeah.
very and I think that's the easiest criticism there. What I see is just like this is very much a Jam versus Carson situation, like where it's hard to say in my eyes who played better, Malcolm or Denise, but like Malcolm was always going to be more feared and targeted before Denise. So like part of me makes me think that he played better because of that, and part of me makes me feel like he played worse than Denise because he set himself up to be targeted sooner. But all that being said, with like the odds they faced at the beginning and how they were able to maneuver everything, like it was still very impressive. Like Malcolm played a great game this season.
And
I loved watching Malcolm play this season, but like the reason he didn't get up any higher on my list was because like he played that Final Four so bad.
Very bad.
Yeah.
All he had to do was just do whatever he had to do. If he could not win that final immunity challenge to get himself to fire, where he probably wins and then he wins the game.
Yeah. So
I mean, the opportunity to tie the vote was there.
It was that I'll give you that, but to me, he's somebody that shouldn't have been able to dominate a game, and he did. Like it's not like David Wright where you look at him and you're like, I'm not scared of him. Like the dude was the biggest guy in the cast, the most athletic. He good looking.
He showed what Ozzy would look like if Ozzy had any sort of strategic or social ability on Survivor.
Correct. And so, like, he's somebody who shouldn't been able to dominate a game in the modern era. It's not like the old era where, like, oh, he's in my thing, I'm sticking with him. He dominated the game in a way where he shouldn't. He played better than Denise until the Final Four round. That's it. Other than that, he played better than her in almost every turn. So that's why I had him so high. I give you that. The Final Four round was abysmal, but like he had a grasp on the game all the way until that moment.
Right.
All right. Well, let's go into our top 3, and I will say, like, it was a definitive closeness within these top 3 for the clear top 3.
Top 3, thank you.
All right. Well, coming in at number 3, Michael had this person at number 3. So did James. Frank had this person at number 2, and Mammers had this person at number 8. It's Jesse Lopez from Survivor 43.
Listen, he was so close to being like the GOAT of the new era. He was so close.
Like
if he could just make a damn fire.
Make it.
And like while we have like good, like D was a borderline like dominant win, like Jesse would have been like that clear like dominant win, like poster child, new era like type deal. Like what he was able to do at the final six and the final five was so impressive, and his understanding of the game was so good. And like while it was not a good season really at all, he like the whole story was basically told from Jesse's perspective, like pretty much the entire thing. Like
Jesse was the main character of Survivor 43.
we almost don't understand the win because we see so much of why Jesse didn't win rather than why like Gabler won or why any of them were even there. Like
so this is like listen, he's like probably my favorite player. He's easily my favorite player of the new era. Like the move he does to Cody, not only the fact that he used his own idol against him, is that he got he got rid of another idol, which she didn't get a single vote. He did it publicly in front of everybody, like so ballsy and so balls to the wall, and basically said, "Look at it, I'm just hanging right here. I don't care." And it's one of those moves that you don't get to see very often, and it just he dominated the game from start to finish to the final four, and he didn't play the final four wrong. He just couldn't make a fucking fire. If he makes the fire, he wins, 10-0.
And I mean, he was also able to like do what impresses me the most. Like we talked about, like I said, the Malcolm versus like Denise thing, or the Carson versus Jam Jam thing, where it's like, did you play a better game if you were like more threatening and voted out, or if you were able to hide that more? Like Jesse was able to play a game where like he should have been the biggest threat for like a long time, but he was playing so good that he was able to make people believe that Cody, who was kind of an idiot, was a bigger like threat to win than him. And like that was genius to me. Like it really was. Like I mean, I just, like I said, I really like how Jesse was able to like hide his threat level while also dominating at the same time. Like it was so impressive, and him stealing the idol from Dwight was like, it was so great,
so juicy. So like I mentioned this with Kelly earlier. Like Jesse provides one of my all-time favorite Survivor moments when he does the whole I got something, and he plays Cody's idol, and you just see his wheels are turning. Like
yes,
like it's starting to realize like this dude's going to fucking vote me out, and it takes him a minute. When he sees his first name, he just turns and looks at him, and really, bro. And the balls to stand up and like dap him up afterwards, like. Like if anybody deserved to be punched in the face in the moment, that's one of them. And he stands up, looks him in the face, and daps him up right in his face. Like, oh, it's just so good. Like, oh, so good.
You're high on 43, aren't you, Frank?
I'm not high on 43. I'm just higher than you guys.
Okay.
I think
he somehow thinks it's not garbage.
I don't think it's garbage because of the episodes that we get. We get that episode. We get the episode. Like Jesse has like 4 episodes that just make such great moments. Like you don't get those every season, even the good seasons.
Yeah.
The problem isn't him; it's everybody else.
So that's fine. That's fine. One man show. I'll watch this show anytime.
Can I ask y'all, if Jesse wins that game, does it raise in your season rankings?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's one of the situations where absolutely.
It's like 38.
Like Jesse is an all-time, like he's top 10 winner if he wins that season too.
Oh yeah.
One of the wins and stuff. It's hard for me to go higher.
Like, you'd have to really think about pushing the top 5. That's how good of a win that would have been.
He's definitely top 10. Definitely.
Yeah. Without even thinking about
it.
Like, so you'd have to really think like who played better than him if he would have won that game. If he would have won Fire, who played better than him? Like you'd have to really think about it. It'd be really hard to say. Maybe the 2 Tonys.
Besides Tony winners of war, you got to go back kind of far to find
Yeah,
the better ones.
I think Tommy played a really good game. Underrated. It's very quiet.
Yeah,
So.
but I
But
still
we're
think
getting off
that's-
topic. We're getting off topic.
All right. Well, going to number 2. Almost there, y'all.
let's
Mammers
see.
and James had this person at number 2. Michael had this person at number 1.
This is the person I probably should have raised higher.
Frank put this person at number 8. What? 3 feet.
I told you in the thing. I looked at my list and I was like, I should have raised somebody higher. This is the person I was talking about.
So, Suri beats Parvati.
Yeah.
Oh, 1,000%.
And, like, my thing is, like, Parvati, while she was a good winner there and, like, played a great game. Like, I think her game when she didn't win was almost better the second time, like, in Heroes Villains. So I think, like, Suri out of the Black Widow Brigade was the ringleader here. And while, like, she didn't pull off every move, I think she was the most liked and most well positioned to beat anybody.
Yeah.
So
She's amazing.
she did what she did the first time and raised her glass.
Stars.
She played very much like she did the first time, except she was playing against a much better cast and played, I think, an even better game than she did the first time.
Yeah.
All right. So this is where I made my mistake. For some reason, I felt like she was the fallen angel of her first season. And I was like, yeah, she played good there. And that in my head, when I was doing the rankings, that's what I did. And then after I looked at it and it really popped in my head, I was like, I should have raised her up higher. So that's my fault.
Where would you have put her, Frank?
I would definitely have moved Malcolm down. I still think I probably would. I still think I would have kept Jesse where I kept him. I think I would have put her like 4 or 3.
She still would have been number 2 if that makes you feel better.
So I think that, like, it also sucks too because, like, Suri should have won this season. Like, that if there wasn't all the Medevac,
that should have been a final 3, and she would have beaten both Parvati and Amanda in that final 3.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
They knocked it to a final 2 because of the James Medevac and the other Medevacs and the quits that happened during the season. They needed to find a way to make up the time, and instead of just doing a reward challenge and then the final immunity challenge like they did in other seasons, they decided to make it a final 2 for some stupid fucking reason. I really wish they would have bit him in the ass and gotten a 4-4 tie at the end, but
that would have been.
So you had her first, Michael?
I had her first.
And is that what separates it, that you think she was sort of robbed by production?
I think she got screwed by production changing the game plan last minute, where I feel like had the game played out how it was supposed to, she would have won.
Yes. And that's why it's so dirty and it's so stupid. But, like, she does, like, their alliance was one of the most memorable alliances of all time. And, like, they were able to pull off all these moves. And, like, well, it's hard to give, like, one person credit for, like, particular moves in this. I do think Suri stands out above the rest of her alliance because, like, Suri was the
one who got the ball rolling on getting Eric to give up his immunity.
Yeah.
And,
She just thought it first.
Yep.
So, again, I made a boo boo here, but it's not like I didn't have her on the list. So,
Right.
Well, that would have been unforgivable.
That would have been bad.
I would have just left.
I was just like,
And not that it matters for this podcast or list or any of our lists, but Suri totally justifies how good she is every time she's on any sort of reality.
oh, always, yeah.
The fact that in Survivor, not once, not twice, but 3 times she got fucked at the end of a Survivor game that she could have won.
Crazy.
I mean, she won another reality show and then very close to winning another one too. So
This is probably a hot take, but I do not want to see her on Survivor 50.
She's not going to play.
I don't think we have to, but
I'm over it.
We're not. Survivor 50 is not going to bring back any of these like big name legends. They're just not.
I disagree. I think they're going to have at least 2 or 3 of them on there. It's
No.
Survivor 50.
No.
It should be their biggest season ever.
No, they're gonna just pull from the new era. It's just new era All Stars. That's all it's gonna be.
Mm.
There's too much campaigning going on for them to not have
That-
figured.
That's a great another podcast we can do.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think everyone knows what's coming for number 1. Michael had this person at number 2, and every single person else had this person at number 1.
Dina Cha.
We obviously have Jan Gentry from Thailand. No, it's Rob Cesternino from the Amazon.
Michael, I'm surprised you have Suri over Rob. That's what I want to talk about.
I
Again,
understand his
like I just-
reasonings.
Like I had just talked about, I think I give Suri the edge over Rob because I think production kind of took it away from her.
Like
Yeah.
Rob lost with the game playing.
Rob
out.
lost with the game, how the game was supposed to be played out. Suri
Yeah.
lost because Survivor changed the way the game was going to play out.
Okay, that's fair.
All right, to me though,
Rob, but
Rob is like the difference between Rob and Suri to me is that like Rob was this season. Like he was the season. Like this is one of my favorite seasons of all time. I think I have it like 4th of all time, and it's because I loved watching his confessionals, his game, and like the way he played. Like it almost like made me like I wasn't old enough to really like I watched it, but I wasn't really old enough to understand his strategy like the first time he played. But like if I had been, I think like this is would have made me like fall in love with Survivor. And like Rob plays the game in this season that I watch and I just admire. Like I'm like that is the game that I want to play.
Yeah.
when I play Survivor. So like to me that is what stands him alone head and shoulders above anybody else. Like he's the first person on Survivor that was willing to go out there and like granted he was one of the first super fans to play the show because the show hadn't been on that long. He was the only one who's like really into it at the time, and I guess really understood the strategy. But like Rob was the first person to go on that show, go on that island and mix it up every single week. Like
Yeah.
he was willing to like do something different if it was going to benefit his game and his game only. And he was the first
Games
person
used
to
to
really
survive
do.
for real.
So he's he was gifted the best player to never win for quite a while.
Oh.
You can make an argument he can still have that.
Yeah.
I still put him there.
So
Even though, yeah.
so like he's only played twice. The second time he kind of got screwed. He had no chance.
yeah,
Right.
no, I don't even really count the second time.
Yeah.
He's gotten only one
No.
legitimate chance.
Yeah, he had one legitimate chance, and like he's one comp away from winning the game.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's what happens sometimes. You run into these people who go on these comp runs and they just kind of just can take over the game sometimes, especially in the final 2 over a final 3. Like a final 3, like you can still kind of have some wiggle room where you can have that person to vote with you, so it doesn't matter. You're still getting that section, but like in a final 2 scenario, like it's a lot harder to beat those comp people towards the end of the game because they ultimately have to say.
I mean, and Rob was like, to me, he was the ultimate bullshitter out there, which was like in a good way, because like he was able to blindside people and lie so much, and then after that, be willing to convince them it's in their best interest to go with him the very next round. Like when he blindsided, I think it was Dina, he was still able to get the people who he just went against to come back with him the next round for that. And like while all this was going on, he had Matt like so far in his pocket, like it was not even funny. Like Matt was playing that game for Rob to win. Like he was like his little protege. Like it was almost funny.
All right, Hart. We're getting down to it. Who are you upset that didn't make the list?
So I told y'all I had 18 of the top 20 who made the list. The only people that I had that weren't actually in were Cass and Rick Devins.
Okay.
And then the people that made it that I didn't have was Lauren Ashley Beck and Jenna Lewis.
Okay.
Nothing too bad.
Not too bad. No.
What's everybody's bottom 5 Fallen Angels?
Oh yeah, well, I said we have to
Look at the list again, but I know Liz is on there.
Christina Cha's number 1.
Christina Cha's the worst.
Yeah.
I think Liz is probably second worst.
I think Angela Perkins is second.
Yeah,
She's probably 3.
I think Liz is worse.
Liz is terrible.
Heather's bottom 5. Heather is bottom 5.
Bottom 5.
Here's my thing: is they said though that Heather helped Erica run that merge.
I'm not on by
I
it.
don't buy that. I don't even think Erica had no power in that
Really?
match anyway.
Let's not get back into this. We're gonna be arguing about this again for
My God,
20 minutes.
I gotta go to bed, guys.
Eric Kay from David vs. Goliath is bad.
She's not bottom 5 bad.
I didn't
though.
say bottom 5 bad, but she wasn't good.
She's nowhere close to being on this list, but like she's not bottom 5 bad, I don't think. But like, I mean, it is interesting though, because like I said, I knew like the
I
one.
think Aaron
from the
Lobdell
very
is
top.
close to bottom 5.
I don't. I think she's like barely below the people that we had. As
Oh. What about Sundra?
Oh yeah.
Can't even make
She's
five.
bad. She is bad.
Jan Gentry.
Dan Gentry is bad.
We love Jan Gentry.
Dan Gentry was the fake number 1.
Did you get the message too when
Katura's in the bottom 5, I think.
Katura's bad. Bad.
The new era ones are bad.
Except for Carson
Jesse, the new era Fallen Angels are bad.
I'm not.
They're either like amazing or they're bad. And that's what goes with a lot of them. Like we see these lists, like we have such a great top 20, and we have a few really good ones left off, and then there's some horrible. Like there's not much mediocrity
But like,
among the Fallen Angels.
and the ones that like we have left, some of the ones we have left off are just strict personal bias. Like we agree that we still agree.
Yeah,
with the game,
exactly.
or whatever the case is, we just have them off for a specific reason. There's a lot of us agree on who had good games and who had bad games.
Yeah,
What about Mr. Dogbar himself, Eddie Fox?
Eddie Fox.
the best. He's the best. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to come up with another fun little topic, but it's pretty late for us, so I gotta go to bed. So,
Yeah.
I think you guys have anything else to add before we get out of here?
No.
I think
No.
that's it. I mean, this was
Alright.
fun. Looking
Let's go
forward to
for
the
it.
next one.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open for another top 20 coming soon, but it is pretty late for most of us. So.
Yeah, I gotta work in I gotta get up for work in like 4 hours. But thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, let us know who you thought was like snubbed, or I mean, I'm pretty sure most of the people had probably similar people towards the top, but very curious on the little middle section. I knew Ozzy and Tina are going to cut flack for me, so but thank you guys for watching. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.